Shimmering in the Nebraska sunlight this Saturday afternoon is the dawning of something new, wrapped in a name that's very familiar. In Lincoln, it's the Raiolas. Dad was the center. Son is a quarterback who's here to maybe save a program that's had 7 consecutive losing seasons. A 5-star recruit taking a walk that his dad took to a 397th consecutive sellout. Welcome to Fox College Football, sponsored by Geico. Get more with Geico. The same tunnel walk that has been passed down from a generation to the next. He says this school has been in his blood. And here, Dylan Raiola will throw his first pitch in Cornhusker red. Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, Allison Williams in a moment. This is one of those days that's really special for a program trying to turn the corner. 90,000 plus here to watch the whole team, but one man in the center of it.
Yeah, you're kind of giving me goosebumps as you set all that up, Jason. That was really well done. The connection between father and son. Uncle is his offensive line coach. It feels a little bit like the #1 pick in the NFL draft. A little bit like Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears, a proud organization, right, that has just been down, but we get a supernatural talent, the highest recruit in the history of this school. The #1 pick landed in our building. And what that does to a state, what that does to a community, what you and I felt in that football office yesterday, and most importantly today, what it will do in that huddle. Someone of that ilk, that calm, that confidence just elevates everybody else. That's what everybody, 90-some thousand, are waiting to see.
He's 19 years old. UTEP's head coach is 15 years older than him. Scotty Walden trying to bring that same kind of energy.
Yeah, he's got some juice. I mean, watching these minors warm up, you talk to people in the program, they've never seen anything like this. Previous 2 head coaches were offensive line guys, a little more old school, and Scotty, from the minute he came out here, is hopping and skipping and jumping into guys. He can't wait to play. They're not going to be intimidated. They're not here to collect a paycheck. They're here to compete. And his staff has been in Tennessee and Bama, and they're going to cut it loose and let it rip.
New coaching staff versus a new quarterback. 90,000 plus here to watch. We'll take it a break with our game countdown, sponsored by Progressive. UTEP and Nebraska. Kickoff is next.
The following is a presentation of the Big Ten Conference.
Welcome back to Fox College Football, sponsored by Geico. Get more with Geico. Lovely Lincoln, Nebraska, and down in the middle of it is Allison Williams. Hi, Allison.
Hey there, Jason. Dylan Raiola has all the hype, the talent, and the pro pedigree. But he is a 19-year-old making his first collegiate start in a stadium that bears his father's name and holds so many special memories for Dylan. He said walking through that tunnel and out onto this field for the first time would be surreal. I talked to his dad, All-American offensive lineman Dominic Raiola, before the game. He said his son is ready. And he was watching him out there. He said he looks like the same kid that used to run around the grocery store aisles making a game of everything. But he told me last night he took a moment to thank his son, to thank him for carrying the torch for our family, choosing this place, trusting Matt Rule, and allowing the legacy to continue in Lincoln.
He'll get the ball first. There is a marker down. We'll have to check the penalty. We've waited this long to see him working another 15 seconds.
By the way his dad was looking right there, you know what he would like to do? Go hit somebody. Yeah. You don't take that out of a 15-year NFL dude and an All-American in this place.
One more deep breath for the 19-year-old Dylan Raiola, wearing Tommy Frazier's old number on the Nebraska sideline.
There are offsetting fouls on the play. Offside kicking team number 35. Personal foul, illegal blindside block, receiving team. The ball will be re-kicked.
Everybody here in red
block was number 29.
came to see 2 kickoffs. You know.
No, but I think those two penalties show for both sides, they're ready to hit somebody else, and they're ready to play.
Scotty Walden might be ready to hit somebody, too, on that sideline.
Have I told you before, this is one of my favorite venues in all of college football. Every single time, even though I was plastered on that turf 25 years ago, I come back to this place. It is the same juice that flows through your body because it means so much to these people sitting in the beautiful sunshine today. They're standing for this matter.
Let's do it again. UTEP and Nebraska. And this is returnable for Ja'Cory Barney Jr. and he'll set up shop just short of the 30-yard line. It's not just another program, is what Dylan Raiola said. And this is a legacy near an offensive line. His dad snapped it. Now the quarterback under center. Here's this as he walks out.
Pretty cool. Adrian did it for a bunch of years preceding him. A lot more of a supporting cast right now around Dylan, and they are not going to baby him. The words Matt ruled to us yesterday, we're going to let it rip.
On first down, it's an opening run, and it's a dash. Ramir Johnson in a very crowded running back room for the Cornhuskers, who have had to move the offensive line around because of an injury in camp to Teddy Prohaska.
Those two on the right side who open that hole are powerful men who played a lot of ball. Mazuka in a different spot, different uniform. Ben Hart making the most starts in the history of this program at this 42nd today. Banks a transfer from Wake Forest.
Well, watch him all season. He was a big pass catcher at Wake. This is Thomas Fedoni, the second, the tight end who's now healthy. And UTEP, you said, is going to have to stick and move, but Westmoreland was a big-time sack guy last year.
Yeah, all-conference player for them. By far their freakiest athlete. And they know they're undersized. They know they can't just line up in spots, and J.J. Clark, their D coordinator, is going to move people everywhere. And Corey Chapman, a real X-factor, plays that nickel slot position, and a savvy player that followed this staff from Austin Peay.
Two tight ends in motion for Nebraska. Just like the old days, now handed off straight ahead for first down. Dante Dowdell, the transfer from Oregon, who didn't get a lot of run for Dan Lanning. That was a crowded room last year in Eugene. They've loved him here in Nebraska.
Big old back. Mississippi boy, ran for over 5,000 yards as a four-star guy heading out to Eugene, and was like, yeah, that's pretty crowded. Let me get a little closer to home. He will be one of four. You will see all four backs carry it today.
There's an injured UTEP player, Jalen Ram, who is a seventh-year college football player, some institutional knowledge at a number of institutions, coming here to UTEP, and he is in substantial pain. We just saw Thursday night the injury to Max Johnson for North Carolina, and it is just the very last thing anyone wants to see in week one after how much everybody poured into camp for this moment right now. You mentioned Matt Rule off the top, and we mentioned the losing seasons at Nebraska. Year two, wherever he's been in the college football landscape, has been strong.
Big bump. Establish a culture in year number one. Don't deviate from the process. Don't do anything cheap. Do it the right way. And there's a lot of veterans on a salty defense, one of the top 15 in America a year ago, that returned and give them a chance to bump up that number this year too.
Raiola checking at the line. He'll hand it off. Dowdell skating over the left side, and we'll take a look at our Get More game plan, sponsored by Geico. Get more with Geico, Brock.
Yeah, and this is straight from both of these coaches' mouths, and it is for Nebraska to play fearlessly, for UTEP to be fast, faster, fastest. You cannot line up offensively, defensively. They call it we-fence, not special teams right there for Scotty Walden. and they're just going to have to be moving. And from that rule, they don't want to be thinking about the, well, what if, and what if. You're in the what is, and you go get the job done.
This is Nebraska's opening drive on a 2nd and 5. It's a toss. It's to Corey Barney Jr. across midfield. He is a freshman who was an outstanding, multifaceted athlete in high school.
He's one of those Florida kids, and his wiring is just a little faster than what they've been used to here. And they'd take his shoes at times and walk through because the guy knows one speed, full speed.
Yeah, they said you have to practice in socks. Raiola on the move across his body. He's got another connection to Iron Bonner this time. And perfect so far for Dylan Raiola.
That's really good because you call that play action shot right between the 40s and you want to let it go. You could hear the crowd, right? Almost like a fly ball in baseball. Like they see that ball go, just let it go. He didn't let it go because there was double coverage on the back end. He takes the completion. That's pretty emblematic of the young man's maturity.
You can't blame them for wanting a shot play, though, on this opening drive. They can taste something going on. Now he loads up. It's a deep ball, and it is nearly brought in. It's incomplete. Isaiah Nayer did have a step, and it got him on the hands off the dive.
That's pretty good. That's about 50 in the air. And when it came out of Raiola's hands, you could read the body language right there. I like that one. He throws a beautiful deep ball.
What do you like about it?
Technically, it's the layback, man. He gets that elbow back. He gets that ball back, and he lets it float, and guys go run underneath it. That's when Nayer, I promise you, says, I will get you next time.
3rd down and 3. They will hand it off and go straight up the middle, and Kyle just crashes forward with Dowdell.
This is pretty good. This looks like 9-on-7 drill in practice. I mean, this is just mano-y-mano. You don't even really get to the second level. Look at this. I mean, you're right there in that phone booth, as they like to say. And low man wins. Strength and power wins. You push the pile, you move the chains.
Marcus Satterfield said about Dowdell, he will run through your face. Raiola looked like he wanted to screen. Now he spikes it into the deck with pressure coming. And there is
legal number 24 is in
second
the area.
incompletion for Raiola. Westmoreland was after it. So this is what the offense did last year. And the passing offense didn't clear 200 yards in any game.
No, they could not beat man coverage. They were not nearly as dynamic, as fast, as veteran on the perimeter as they are this season. Could run it well, but could not complement it all and balance it out.
Movement at the line. Markers coming from everywhere.
False start offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
It's on Benhart making his 42nd career start.
Come on, Dad.
Will you explain yourself?
I asked Dylan to describe them all. He said, my dad's advice is to be your lineman's best friend. I said, well, then describe them all. And he went through, and maybe over the course of the game, I'll tell you his adjective. And for Benhart, it was, oh, he's like a dad. 6 year, been around here a long time.
2nd and 15. Right over the middle, on target. Catch and run for Barney. Across the 20-yard line. There is a marker down. Back at the 36.
Yeah, that's going to be a block. Offensive pass interference. Blocking before that ball was caught. We saw it on Thursday night as well. So some of the timing in the openers.
Pass interference. Offense, number 24. 15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's on the tight end, Fedoni. It negates a 22-yard gain.
Yeah, and you love the effort from Fedoni right in the slot right here. But you can't do that before the ball is caught. So ball's thrown downfield. He's blocking before the ball is caught. Nice to see Fedoni, by the way, with no knee braces.
Yeah.
2 ACLs, battled so much injury. Well, I guess he put it on for the game. Didn't have it on in warm-ups. He's an absolute stud. Love the playing concept, but the timing of it, a tick off.
He's a number 1 tight end in his class coming out of the state of Iowa a bunch of years ago. This is 2nd and 30. Raiola. That's a shot right over the middle. That's a wide open Jamal Banks. Just sitting down to get a bunch of it back.
So you say wide open, Jay, and I say as a quarterback, a perfectly feathered throw right over the underneath coverage. You can see the linebacker there. He is in zone coverage, and you're right, behind him, he's 7 yards deep. But if you throw a rocket shot right there, you know what you're going to hit? That linebacker.
Yep.
And instead, you have enough touch. You can throw the ball in multiple speeds and ways. Terrific completion to make it a third down possible.
He got 19 that time. Westmoreland double team. Raiola with the arm angle spits it out for Nair. He talked to us about the different arm slots. There it is.
And you're going to see a great shot of it right here. Stepping up in the pocket, which I love. And then the opportunity, I mean, he trains, you know who.
Yeah.
He wears 15 for Tebow, but he trains with Mahomes' people, and they do so much work on that arm, on the elasticity of it, on the arm angles of it, so you can throw and torque from any position.
People might say that comparisons like facially are a little overblown. That looked like Patrick Mahomes.
So good to step up in the pocket, young quarterbacks. Don't just look to escape.
He'll throw it again. It's a lob near side to the end zone. Incomplete. There is a marker down. It was Shelton tied up with Nair. There is a second marker as well back at the 18. And if you were hungry for offsetting penalties.
2 fouls by the defense. Offense in the neutral zone for snap number 69. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Just these little indicators, right? That's kind of what you're watching, and Matt Rule is watching. They've seen it all spring long. He knew he had a freebie, so just put it up and play. Both guys are fighting. The other night we saw a lot of tugging and fighting and letting them play, but that time I think Jalen Shelton just into the chest, see that jersey get pulled. And he set these Cornhuskers up in prime position.
The weaponry is much improved on the outside for Nebraska this year. Nair had 12 touchdowns one year at Wyoming. Dowdell, the tailback. And an easy in. Touchdown, Nebraska.
For UTEP and J.J. Clark, the defensive coordinator, you can't be sitting targets, but unfortunately, watch the movement here. Look at the left side of the line with Corcoran and Evans. They just get an initial terrific push. They get to the second level. Fedoni comes across the line of scrimmage to cut it off. And that is a gaping hole for Dowdell's first touchdown.
Dante Dowdell played for the Maroon Tide in high school. It's a different shade of red, but right now he looks very much at home in Lincoln, Nebraska. Opening drive touchdown for Raiola and the Huskers. Everything a Cornhusker fan wanted in one drive.
Holy smokes. You want to see the deep ball, you want to see a check down, you want to see managed line of scrimmage, you want to see third and extra long, stepping up and slinging it from a three-quarter spot. Yeah, since the spring game, they have been waiting for this one, and frankly, the country has, because this school's just not had a guy of his ilk in a long time.
First look at UTEP begins with a kick from John Hole. Ends up on bounds. That's a we can't have nice things sort of situation.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team number 90. The receiving team will put the ball in the play at the 35-yard line. First and 10. Timeout on the field.
Very first game. And it's a great start for that young one and everybody in red. Fox College Football is sponsored by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference, and by Modelo, now recruiting full-time fans. Please drink responsibly. We should use the UTEP team building footage for our Pacific Life game summary later for the splash into the water. As UTEP was lined up on the sideline with its coach, Scotty Walden, during the break, we introduce you to Skylar Locklear, whose dad, Nick, drove 18 hours to get here to watch him play in his first FBS start.
Yeah, Clayton, North Carolina, he himself drove 10 hours down to Austin Peay to show this staff what he could do in high school. A winner, a scrapper. Said, I don't get nervous. I don't care what the setting is. I just go play. Highly contested QB battle. He wins it over McConnell, and they will be aggressive this afternoon.
They'll be fast as well on the trigger, and we have a penalty.
Prior to snap, false start, offense number 59, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Otis. Pitts the third, the transfer from Cisco College. This offensive line undersized facing Nebraska.
Yeah, they are, and you said it. Within 12 seconds, they would love to snap it. A bunch of those O-linemen have lost a lot of weight. An active physical camp down there in El Paso. Jackson, 1 of 11 from Austin Peay. One of those governors. Now, he was all-conference too, over 1,000 yards rushing to make the trip from Austin Peay with his head coach to rebuild this program down at UTEP.
They break off 5 wide receivers to run the other direction, set up an H-back 3 wide, and Jackson in the backfield. And this opening touch will be a run for Locklear, and he gets maybe a yard. There is the Cornhusker defense, including one of the great wrestlers in high school, Nash Hutmaker. Linebacker spot, sprinkled in some veteran players along with Buford, who made that stop on the opening play in the secondary. Quick set, they'll get it across the 35-yard line, and then that red wall collapses on the catch by Vincent. Third down.
That's what elite defenses do. I mean, this was an elite defense last year under coordinator Tony White in year 2. They fly to the football. You will not see one red jersey no matter where that ball's kicked out by Locklear. That time there were 4 that collapsed. Memorial Stadium rocking on 3rd and long.
Making the helmet communication. You saw the green dot, meaning he's got the speaker in his helmet that will have the kill switch at 15. So it's quiet now. 3rd down and moving at the line again. That was Robinson slamming through. We'll see if he was drawn.
False start, offense number 50, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Brennan Smith, another one of those transfers from Austin Peay. Tony White's defense was outstanding last year for Nebraska.
El Paso guy.
That's El Paso's Tony.
Yes,
right? MacArthur Middle School.
Yes, it is. And a little something, something. He loves El Paso. Harden Gloves, where he learned to play the game. But he's got his guys playing. There's a reason they locked him up and they extended him this offseason. They know what they got. A difference maker at coordinator.
Timeout, UTEP.
You think they were ready for this one in Lincoln?
Timeout on the field.
Yeah. Since the 1960s, everybody's been here on Saturday or Friday or whatever day they play. This is one of the true gems of college football. Such an opportunity when your head coach's last name is Rule for signage. Scotty Walden is doing everything he can to fire up his team in his first year, his first game at UTEP. 3rd down and long. Skylar Locklear with pressure, and he has to fling it and drop it off, and they'll get a little bit of yardage with Cam Thomas, but that is it. He is sandwiched by Hutmaker and Bullock.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it is a Cornhusker sandwich on the other end. Chasing down Locklear, you're exactly right. You read it, Jason. Going to be a little screen on 3rd and extra long. Look at the savviness of those guys up front. They read screen. You get to the quarterback there right in his face does M.J. Sherman. But then it's just the pursuit. You play together. You know what's coming, and then you just go fight.
Adam Jacklin, their 26-year-old punter who's a trained pilot, boots it away. It's all the way back to Garcia Castaneda coming off a knee injury. He gets to the 29, and now we toss it to Mike Hill for an all-state game break.
Hey, Jason, that weather-delayed Penn State-West Virginia game will resume at 4:23 p.m. Eastern. Now, many viewers here on Fox will be sent to the resumption of that game in Morgantown, while the rest can continue to watch your UTEP-Nebraska game on FS2 and the Fox Sports app. Jason and Brock, back to you in Lincoln.
Mike, thank you very much. We don't know any delays after North Carolina, Minnesota on Thursday night. And now here is Dylan Raiola again. He led an opening drive, touchdown to the end zone. His second touch begins with a run. Dowdell, shot out of a cannon again. That's 12.
Yeah, well, you're just seeing the movement, Mike, right? That red wave right at the point of attack, time and again with those big guys. Just look at them reset that line of scrimmage. Awareness there by Evans to have his eyes up on the linebacker run through. And Dowdell, they told us, he came in the spring, he was okay. Summertime really took a stride. And in camp, just a man.
Here he goes again. He hits the hole and he gets dumped by the quarterback, Shelton. This was not a great Nebraska first quarter offense. They were under a field goal per game. They've already got 7 today.
Well, they were one-dimensional. I mean, they just could not consistently balance out their run game at all with any threat of a passing game. And already you see the difference 15 makes.
This guy too. This whole running back room is an upgrade. They've gotten a couple guys back from injury. And look, let's be honest, the quarterback's different, but a lot's different in the skill positions too.
And I'm liking just the diversity of some of this run scheme. There's some inside zone. There is a little bit of counter. And then whatever it is, there is movement right at the point of attack. So Dowdell and crew can get going. Check with me here situation.
Amir Johnson, the tailback. He finds a gap straight up the middle to the 39.
More than likely, and I didn't see their alert sheet, but more than likely, what they expected from UTEP was either pressure or some zone. And if you see 2 safeties, as Raiola did right there, you could see him calmly say, okay, you're going to play zone, you can play 2 safeties, and I'm just going to get to that run game and make sure the big guys up front keep wearing these little guys down.
Good to see Amir Johnson healthy off that separated shoulder last year. He tried to run behind Benhart and got stonewalled by Westmoreland, who is a fantastic player. First team All-Conference USA last year for UTEP.
A little better job there of just getting to half a man. You cannot get stuck against these guys. You put your body, your chest played against theirs, they're going to move you. Westmoreland on the front side of that play did a nice job. Dunson on the back side of that play, creating a 3rd down situation.
Half a man, you mean?
You just can't go right through a bigger guy. You've got to get to the side of him.
It's a throw, and he's got the tight end, and it's a little tiptoe job by Fedoni. He is out of bounds. And so this will be 4th down for Nebraska from the 39.
This is a really nice job by the secondary of UTEP here. 2 outside receivers have got to try to block, right? And that ball thrown behind the line so they could go down and block, but they couldn't get to the Miners in that pursuit. Now creates a 4th down and an opportunity here for the young QB to do something he's never done before. Convert a 4th here at Nebraska.
Timeout UTEP, their second
timeout for UTEP here in the first quarter. 4th and 5 for Dylan Raiola when we come back. Fox College Football is sponsored by Wendy's new Saucy Nugs. A whole new way to nug. Dylan Raiola talked about his family, how important his family is. His father, Dominic, we've discussed. His mom, Yvonne, was a tremendous athlete in her own right. Water polo, swimming. His sister, Taylor, is so important to him as well. And this is a family affair, including on the sideline as well, his uncle Donovan, the offensive line coach.
Pretty cool moment there right before they went in the tunnel after warm-ups.
4th and 5 for the 19-year-old quarterback. A lot of time. Nye bails and throws, and they won't get the broken tackle they need from Nair. He goes down, and UTEP is fired up. What a play by Corey Chapman, one of those transfers from Austin Peay.
You could see Raiola's eyes were looking short. That's where the completion was. This is a clear route. This is an alert. This is not necessarily in the progression, but you can see right there an opportunity with Banks. He's looking underneath, to be fair. 1 and 2 are out in the flat, and then the progression comes across the field. But in time, I promise you the veteran there will take advantage of a bust like that. But as it is, UTEP gets a stop they had to have.
So Skylar Locklear with an empty set on first down. Nebraska backs off at the corner spot. Buford fading back. They'll throw that direction. Trey Goodman on the catch. Right where the coverage backed away. It's a gain of 12.
Yeah, a little bit of soft off coverage, and here you go. Here's the tempo. Would love to run a play every 12 seconds, but it takes a first down to do so.
They have a guy with a stopwatch during practice, counting off the seconds. Here's Jackson breaking to the outside. It's another gash for UTEP across the 40. 12 and then 13 on 2 plays, and the scramble's on. Controlled chaos from the Miners from the West Texas town of El Paso. Locklear wants a deep shot. Near side, touchdown! Cam Thomas broke free. What a response from UTEP. That's a happy former quarterback on the sideline.
Right. That's exactly what that looked like. We're not intimidated. I love what their whole staff said, and J.J. Clark said, you know, it's one thing you can control is your response. Adversity early, and that's how they play. That's what they should look like when they're operating. There's a little slant, there's an outside zone, and then we're going to run an inside fade for a touchdown, and we're all going to do it in a blur before you can hardly get set.
There was a faint chant of UTEP as that extra point went through.
It's right here. What did you say to me in warm-ups? Who does he look like?
Cam Thomas, Maurice Jones-Drew.
He did at UCLA. I mean, he is low to the ground, 5'7", 190 pounds. They call him a minor back. That's that slot position that could do so many different things, including running right by your field safety, Hartzog. I asked yesterday because the first tape I put on when we got this game, I wanted to watch Scotty Walden at Austin Peay go into Alabama. What'd you look like at Alabama? You know what they look like? We're going to take shots. We are not running it. We're not conservative. They want to take 4 of those shots a quarter. 20 plus in the air. Don't screw around. And you know what? We may be undermanned. We may be heavy underdogs, but we're throwing our haymakers.
Well, that's a high per capita because they've only had the ball for 3:07. So you got to squeeze those shot plays in a 42-second drive. And now they're taking advantage of the music in Lincoln.
Look at him.
That's awesome.
He loves it.
Barney on the return. He's got a crease. And he just barely didn't keep his feet to the 35. Shavers pumped up. So is Barney, and here is the journey for Dylan Raiola. He is a legacy, a 5-star. His dad, Dominic, was snapping the ball to Joey Harrington when Dylan was born. 4 separate high schools, Texas, Arizona, Georgia. He's seen a lot of teammates. Couple of times committed to different schools, but as we detailed off the top of the show, he felt like this was the place because of the family connection, in large part.
I think needed to see, could there be some stability? Can Matt Rule really build it the way they used to build it when his dad played?
Loads of time, scanning, waiting. It's a long journey in its own right, and he's out of bounds. Just living for another down, 2nd and 10.
Second down.
And there's some of what he's going to look at. You're not going to see the same picture. That's the one thing for Dylan today. Like, okay, every one of these snaps is a snap and an opportunity to learn. And J.J. Clark is going to try to show him different pictures. Pre-snap, post-snap, every snap. Not make that young man comfortable.
And it's Johnson's first play right up the middle, and he is hugged down after a gain of about 4. So 3rd down coming up once again for Raiola. Trey Dunson on the tackle, transfer from Gardner-Webb. They've got guys from everywhere here at UTEP, and they are resilient.
I think 17 of the 22 in my 2 deep with transfers on defense, 17 of the 22 on offense. 60-some new guys coming to El Paso to make a new family.
3rd and 5. Raiola chucks it with some loft, and it's incomplete. Might have been some miscommunication there with Jalen Lloyd, and it's 4th down.
You know what? Similarly, they're trying to run the same little inside fade that you saw the other side. Cam Thomas hit for a touchdown. It just kind of runs right into the body there of UTEP. Safety's over the top of it anyway. We'd love to see Jalen Lloyd be a little squiggly, and J.J. Clark would say, that's the 3 and out that we need for these Miners.
What'd they say?
That's the 3 and out?
No, you said, Cam Thomas back to receive the punt from Bushini. Inside the 20-yard line is where UTEP will start. In just a moment, many viewers right here on Fox will be sent to the resumption of the Penn State-West Virginia game. For those viewers, you can still find our game right here in Lincoln on FS2 of the Fox Sports app.
I loved your conversation with Scotty yesterday about this game and what it means to him. And when he knew at 14. Allison, go ahead.
As we're seeing teams able to use communication in the headsets from coach to player for the first time. Let's hear what it sounds like for Skylar Locklear out there. I have his backup helmet. Let's listen to head coach Scotty Walden talk to him.
We'll listen in after the play. Locklear's first throw on this drive is caught for a short gain for Jaden Smith. He can talk all the way up to the 15-second mark, so they're making checks actually to Jackson there. He said, watch your rotation. What does that mean?
So he's going to look at his face. That's honest to God, having that communication in my life before, that is what it sounds like, right? You cover your ears and squeeze to try to understand what's coming to fight over this sound.
It's the perfect example of why the crowd matters in college football. Locklear on the run, and there's a marker down on the final play of quarter number 1. That's what you're going to get in college football, though. You come to the line, and you might actually have to adjust and just say, hey, run it.
Holding. Offense, number 50. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
Yeah, and the advantage, Jason, also like the job at the tight ends with Fedoni, Orchard, those guys kicking out the edges at times, but there's something to be said, Benetti, about just a committee of running backs. I said that earlier in the broadcast. That is just going to every single carry, empty the tank because, well, they're splitting it with 3 other guys.
And that would, in a longer season, they hope, than normal, create less fatigue issue down the line. Cam Thomas on a 1st down attempt.
Who was that? It was Jim Harbaugh last year that talked about that.
Yep. The
real switch that he had to make in his mind to protect guys against themselves, to play a lot of people so you could sustain and endure late in the year.
A 2nd down run for Jackson. Mac Brown just talked about that with us on Thursday about his defense. Thank you for joining us at a very impactful moment there with Thomas over the middle and Deshaun Singleton deflecting the pass. Nebraska leads 37-7. We thank you for joining us. If you haven't caught up or done the two-screen experience, Dylan Raiola's debut at Nebraska has gone swimmingly. He's 19 for 27, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 59-yard pass play embedded in that. And the defense for Nebraska has owned this game as well with a 30-point lead on the board against the UTEP Miners. This is Javon Jackson for UTEP, which has been a game opponent. They tied this game at 7 early, and Nebraska has rattled off 30 in a row.
It really felt like that safety was the turning point, right? Just kind of the release valve to get back to being a physically dominant team.
You see there, nice job filling the hole by the Nebraska secondary and Ramir Stewart. But Nebraska, a team that never threw for 200 yards in any game all of last year, is now at 238. Skylar Locklear has an open man, and it's incomplete. The defender fell down, and it'll be 3rd down. Cam Thomas had the big play earlier, and he just couldn't get under it.
Yeah, and this is just one of those shots again that
of the defense.
UTEP wanted to take, have not gotten to enough of them, have not had enough plays. And if you're Locklear there, just put a little more air. Inches away from a 2nd touchdown for Cam.
Sierra Wright was on the coverage. We'll check on the injured Cornhusker when we come back. Jackson. Fox College Football is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect the stuff you love with Renter's Insurance. And by He Gets Us. Fun in the sun for Dylan Raiola so far. He's 19 for 27, a couple of touchdowns, and a great premiere.
Tough to script a better afternoon. Had that awesome moment with his dad, his brother, sister, his mom, right before he went in, and boy, what a show.
His defense has a 3rd and 7.
Last time they did this formation and they swapped to another, trying to run a little quick game if they can find space.
Locklear takes a moment, throws it near side. That's high, and it's incomplete. Sanders on the coverage, the freshman Amari Sanders.
I can promise you one thing. He has never felt what he has felt today, and that is just off the edges. The pocket just collapsing with so much length. This is now a bunch of the backups in who are getting their opportunities. It's not Ty Robinson and Butler and Sherman. It really doesn't matter. Even the second wave in is just that collapse. Jason, the best way to describe it, it's like just sucking the oxygen out of a room. And you just do, well, like that. You just get a little bit tight. You throw the ball a little bit high, and you come off the field.
Kai Wallen providing that pressure. This punt will be touched at the 12, and that's where Nebraska will have it. We'll step aside, the offense back onto the field for the Cornhuskers when we return to Lincoln with a salty defense in tow. Some smooth steps. Tom Brady makes his long-awaited debut at the Fox booth with Kevin Burkhardt, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi for a great season opener. Dak and the Cowboys against the Browns. That's next Sunday, 4 Eastern, only on Fox. Big day. You know the feeling being in the booth for the first time?
Ruston, Louisiana. It wasn't quite the Cowboys 19 years ago.
Here's Heinrich Harburg into the ball game. We've seen him for a couple of plays so far. He has a throw on 1st down into the shadows once again to about the 15-yard line. Carter Nelson's 2nd grab. So 2 Nebraska kids. You go up, Nebraska fans, you hook up on a first play from Harburg.
Yeah, and I think he's just beloved here. Heinrich is last year to be thrown into the fire, and you could just see fundamentally there was so much room to improve. We've not mentioned the name Glenn Thomas, who's come in and done a great job as co-OC and quarterback coach, and just watching Heinrich in warm-ups, and the fundamentals and the feet, Jason, are so much better.
This throw swung out wide, one broken tackle to the 18-yard line. Carter Nelson again. One of the offensive linemen was giving some grief to Harburg for where he grew up in Nebraska. And he said, look, I didn't grow up in a combine, which is the quote of the offseason from Heinrich Harburg, who's written about here locally. Third and 3. And they'll run it. Little sidestep. And Johnson leans for a first down. Hopkins with the stop for UTEP, but this defense been on the field for 27 minutes of the game.
Well, that's what happens when you are 10 for 13 offensively. We've seen this concept. You just get in a big, heavy formation, and you just move people. You block down, and you give any of these 4 running backs an opportunity to find a little daylight. And move those chains yet again.
Emmett Johnson, the former Mr. Football in Minnesota, just got drilled.
Nice job by Tafuna right there. Tavita Tafuna sticking his face in there. This is hot down there, man. You could see it on this defense. The longer they were on the field today, the tougher this was going to be to try to to operate, because that just size and speed advantage was going to show more and more.
Harburg play action. He'll step up, he'll drop it off and pick up the first down. That's Luke Lindenmeyer, another Nebraska native, getting rid of Miners for a first down. Former walk-on Lindenmeyer with a catch.
And once again, it all starts right here with those feet. Keep them underneath you. There's a hitch. There's a hitch. And that's nice rhythm. Looking down the field. Check it down underneath. Well done.
Irvin a first down run, and it is smushed by Hopkins. Well, look, Nebraska's offense already has run 65 plays. Their average last year was 61.5. It was second fewest in the Big Ten. So not only the success rate climbing, but also in 3 quarters, just a different kind of pace and confidence.
Yeah, and again, for this guy, he is back into his wheelhouse. Last year, year 1 with Matt Rule, what do we have? What can we possibly do? Don't have enough in the cupboard. And now Marcus Satterfield's able to get to the volume he wants to get to.
Irvin again, that's a first down. I mean, Marcus Satterfield, when we were here for the Michigan game, this is when they started to install the option. He said friends called him and said, who are you? Do I even know you anymore? But you do with what you have what you think is best. And that was then, and this is now. And it's a different situation surrounding the quarterback, not only the quarterback. Quarter number 4 on the way. But an all-encompassing effort. Even the kids have that look of football season. They're locked in all around the state, and the Huskers are up huge.
Let's go!
Welcome back to Fox College Football, sponsored by Geico. Get more with Geico. 86,000 plus. We're here at kickoff, and Nebraska's run game has been awesome.
I think the locals like that, Jay.
Yeah. Goes to the near side from Harburg is there for a completion to Smith. That's Keelan Smith, the freshman wide receiver for Nebraska.
I think they like that run. I think they love the quarterback, and you've got to be really impressed with the balance. 35 runs, 32 passes for the Cornhuskers, doing really whatever they want now offensively.
Maurice Mazuka into the game at tailback. And they're still battling. I mean, that offensive line is like, hey, get off my guy here. Look, you love that, right? That's Gibson Pyle, the freshman. What a great name for an offensive lineman. Who knows what happens at the top or bottom of the pile, as they say.
And then you got a Canuck right there, a transfer from Utah as well. You're down a couple guys up front. Kwiatkowski is an emergency today. Gachula's not going to play today, so you got a lot of youngins in there. Get some opportunities. cool opportunities at that.
We got to build depth. College football, that's Mazuka for a first down.
Jeez, that's another third down conversion.
Yeah, 12 for 15.
That's, if you're going to run a pro-style system, that is winning football. And it really doesn't matter now. It's Mazuka. That is now the 5th back that is getting touches and carries today. He's doing what the other 4 did. And that's just square up them big old shoulders and rumble downhill.
Harburg right down the middle. That's a laser. And he's got the first down once again. That's a good pass by Harburg. Alex Bullock, the junior from Omaha.
Yeah, and that was a true RPO. So you can see all the linemen, they're all blocking. Everybody thinks it's a run. And that's all Heinrich's judgment right there to pull it back. He knows he's got that lane and fires a bullet to Bullock. 15 of those a season ago.
This is Harburg breaking it down. And he goes head on head with Oscar Moore. They love Heinrich Harburg around here. You hear the reaction. He got a big smile on his face.
Well, you know what's hilarious? They're going to watch tape tomorrow. I promise you. Glenn Thomas is new offensive coordinator or new QB coach co-OC. Yeah. And he's gonna rewind it like I'm doing on my little DV Sport. Like, you know, Heinrich, you could have cut.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but then I couldn't have just put my head and run that guy over. Right. Because I like doing that even more.
I enjoy that. Harburg with some contact, and Bullock ended up on the ground. A.J. Odom sideswiped him.
And you did see a quick shot of Glenn Thomas on the sideline. Satterfield's up top, tight end coach.
They met at a wedding, Satterfield and Glenn Thomas.
Pass interference, defense number 1, the ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
But it's a little unorthodox, Jason, to have a separate QB coach. But Matt Rule said, I actually really like it. And they did it at Baylor, and they've had background doing it before, so it's not unorthodox for them at all. But for Dylan Raiola, he's got one voice, and that's Glenn Thomas, with everything quarterback related. And it really feels like that focus helps that position.
We almost just saw another tailback get some run. Quinton Ives was in the ball game. First and goal, Nebraska, when we come back. Fox College Football is sponsored by Geico. Get more with Geico. Season number 101 for the venerable Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln. Before it was built, they did win a season opener 117-0 against Kearney State in 1911. But that's not the subject of our Aflac trivia question. Get help with expenses that health insurance doesn't cover. How many head coaches has Nebraska had during this sellout streak? Brock? Think it over. We'll give you a moment.
A lot more this century than maybe since that streak started last century.
Harburg to throw. He wants the end zone, and there's a marker down. A.J. Odom's pinpointed again. Garcia Castaneda, the intended target.
Pass interference, offense, number 85. 15-yard penalty, first down.
They will get Smith instead.
Well, this was not a real good sell job. So a rub route versus a pick route, when you go up and you just put your hands on people and you run into people, you kind of force those guys on in the stripes to say, not good enough deception, guys, and this is going to go the other way.
You don't think that was a good sell?
No.
First carry in Nebraska red for Quinton Ives, New Jersey native. All right, what's your answer?
I'm going to say this century, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go 9.
Who's the 9th?
Don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Matt Rule's the 9th.
Well, you know why? There wasn't a 9th. The answer is 8.
This is right. You busted.
$1. Harburg, end zone, a little too much. Odom's again on the coverage, and there is another marker down.
I think this one goes against him.
Pass interference, defense number 1. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be spotted at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
And I'm sure these Miners are saying, for crying out loud, when you put the backups in, can I get somebody of my size, please? Because every single guy is 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and then you can see the 5'11" Odoms just trying to hang on for dear life. This is a long athletic team. We noticed that last year when we had Nebraska going into that game against Michigan, but they weren't all yet grown up. Way more grown-up depth.
Mazuka down at the 1.
Ball carried by number 83.
And they've had 8 guys with carries. And Mazuka, you're talking about Bullock, right? Big guy. Brother's a linebacker, right? Mazuka, brother's an offensive lineman. Micah, who transferred by way of Baylor and Florida. It's a hungry offensive line, even the 2s. Right back there. Off the spin, Mazuka is driven back.
Ball carried by number 33.
I love those sounds. You can hear it on the offense going in. Yeah. And then the defense here just lets out just an exhale. Just look at the middle of the line here. They're shooting every gap possible. And they're not giving up, man. They are not quitting on that side. And you wouldn't think so. A team coached by Scotty Walton, who's still, I think, stepping and getting, working his Apple Watch on that sideline. They had a hard camp, a tough physical camp, and nice to see those guys continuing to let it rip.
Got by Williams and Hopkins there, and there's movement at the line. Timeout, UTEP.
Timeout on the field.
The crowd doesn't like it. They don't like timeouts when Nebraska's about to go in. Time now for Above and Beyond, sponsored by Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above. Your assessment of Dylan Raiola.
On script, on script, I think a couple of those, frankly, were throwaways. At least 3 of those were throwaways. Maybe did not put the ball in harm's way, but maybe one time catchable balls, and it's just the shots. I mean, it is for any Nebraska fan to see that ball flying through the air 30, 40, 50 yards, challenging the defense, spread the fresh air.
Mazuka. Right into the pile and driven back.
Ball carried by number 33.
Again, helping with the stop.
Hopkins on the tackle.
Go for this, right?
The special teams trying to run on the field, and Matt Rule said, okay, fine.
Heinrich wanted to stay.
And I think Matt Rule wants all the operation. Albano has been banged up. Groin injury in June that he's been building back from. We knew that he would have the short kicks today anyway. I think a good chance to get this operation going and give them a crack as well from 20.
Sharp angle. Buccini will hold the punter. Nice hold. And the field goal is good. Nebraska has hung up 40 on UTEP today.
Chill, right on the spot is what Eagle becomes.
Coming up next on Fox Baseball Night in America, the Braves against the Phillies in the NL East. That's still a battle. Or in the NL Central, the Brewers and the Reds in Ellie De La Cruz. It all starts next on Fox. Check your local listings for the game in your area. I checked my phone during a break in the third quarter, and I had a text message from a Nebraska alumnus Major League Baseball player watching the game. And the text said, "We are so back." UTEP will have it from just across the 20-yard line. Big reason they might be so back is the defense.
Well, and this was really the turning point, the safety there. And it was really 3 guys, right? It was Ty Robinson, it was Hutmaker right in the middle, Bayer finishing it off. And from that point forward, it's been pretty darn dominant. Nice interception from Hartzog on a 3rd down. Those edges have just dented UTEP in anything that they wanted to do with any level of consistency. Just 156 total yards, 56 on the ground. Really paying off the jump they made a season ago under Matt Rule. And I say Matt Rule, and I think Matt Rule would say, don't say me, say Tony White, because he's gotten that crew to have so much buy-in, Jason.
The El Paso native. Tony White went to middle school and high school there. He found sports in El Paso. He said he went to middle school. First day of middle school, there was a sports table. And they said, would you be interested in playing sports? He said, yes, all of them, please. And then he became what he is today, really one of the best defensive football coaches in America.
Yeah, was up in New York, right? Didn't even really get to play any sports, and then came down to El Paso where his dad was and opened all those doors and just could not get enough of it.
He stayed with a family friend, that he made down there. Dad went to Fort Bliss. Tony White stayed with that family and made a life down in El Paso, Texas. And he said to us, he goes, look, I root for everybody from El Paso except for today. But a place that's obviously very close to his heart.
And what he's done a really special job. And you see with the backups that come into the game, is there's just a standard that you play at. There is a speed and a pursuit, and you can always tell tremendous D coordinators because it's not just their top tier talent. It's 25, 30 guys that can play and all play to that standard.
Locklear slings it, and he's got the first down on that completion to Jaden Smith, the transfer from Eastern Kentucky. Skylar Locklear just hanging in there back there. Tough kid, quiet kid, really impressive young man who's just starting his UTEP career. First down throw, a little sidewinder to the outside, and they'll pick up a couple of yards. Allison, what do you have?
You guys are talking about the standard for this Nebraska defense, and one of the guys that sets it is Nash Hutmaker, and he was a heck of a high school wrestler and decided to get back on the mat here at Nebraska. He had to drop about 40 pounds after the end of the season to the beginning of January so he could compete at a heavyweight at 285, but he did well out there, guys. Went 7-8, got a spot on nationals.
I mean, his high school numbers are totally and utterly ridiculous. As Smith makes the catch at the 41, he won his last 73 matches by pinfall in high school in South Dakota.
Can you imagine walking onto the mat and looking at that guy in South Dakota?
I cannot. That's what we call a nightmare in most homes.
And you know what else, young guys and gals out there? He's a multi-sport athlete.
Yeah.
Because he's also the state shot put champ in South Dakota. He's a wrestling champ. He's a football player.
Discus, too. Don't forget discus as a junior.
And you got a name like this.
Offense,
I mean,
number 59,
kudos to his
10-yard
parents.
penalty from the spot of
I think
the
they just
foul.
knew.
It's first down.
Yes. You got a name like Nash. You're going to be a nose tackle at Nebraska one day and a wrestler one day, and you're just going to
You could put
impose your will.
You could put a G in front of, that would be the right Nash.
He could have played on those Nebraska teams in the 80s and 90s.
The one that you still have a piece of turf in your embedded in your jaw. Off the holding penalty. Corey Wren, the tailback. Oh my goodness gracious. Kaboom. In the backfield. I mean, that was just absolutely detonated.
And we're getting us some depth on this roster now. You got a linebacker wearing 81.
Ishmael Smith Flores.
That's what I'm talking about with the standard. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what number you wear. It doesn't matter where you are in the depth chart. You get your chance to eat. Go get your job done.
Second down. Bodies everywhere in the trenches. It's intercepted. Ramir Stewart across the 40-yard line. There is a marker down right at the UTEP 41.
Holding offense number 53. The penalties decline. First down.
Relentless.
Timeout on the field.
It's pretty good, too. This is not a bad throw by Locklear. This is just a safety that's seeing it, that's reading it, that's pulling the trigger, and putting a little cherry on top of a dominant effort.
Fox College Football sponsored by T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network. They're number 2 in the country, Nebraska's women's volleyball team. This is footage from victory against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in the home opener. They got a win over Kentucky on Tuesday, and a year ago yesterday, they packed 92,000 people into this building
I think my guy here is going to the volleyball game tonight.
You think so? How do you know that?
Yeah.
You can tell by the posture. Here's a screen. And it's going to be a first down once again for Nebraska. Roman Mangini with the catch. Nebraska could open 7-0.
Don't say that's a prime.
I'm just saying they could. I didn't say they're gonna.
Did you hear that, Dion?
Why are you doing?
Dion, his name.
What are you doing?
Jason Benetti's his name.
This is Joel. If you could fade down Brock's mic, please.
Yeah, I mean, Dion doesn't hear any noise. He doesn't like anybody saying. I think I just heard you say they're going to be 7-0. Or did you say no? They may be. But that one next weekend, it will be an awfully big one here.
His throw to the sideline is incomplete. So another quarterback on. That's Gramstad, Jalen Gramstad, the senior quarterback.
And I think this is protecting Daniel Kalen, who they really love. Protect his red shirt. And they are empty in the roster today, and great for these guys, man. They bust their tail all training camp as well. They work all the reps, and to get a chance to do it here in the fourth quarter, no matter when it is, you get your chance to take advantage of it.
I love that you ran out of synonyms there. Gramstad incomplete to the sideline. It's fourth down coming up.
That's payback for me.
It's inside football for you at home. Allison. Did I hear Allison jump in? Is she going to be on my side there? On fourth down. Gramstad will step up in the pocket, break it down, and UTEP's going to take over here. All right, let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. It's sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for nearly 160 years. It started with a tunnel walk that's very familiar to the Raiola family, and then Dylan started slinging it.
And this place was rocking. I mean, it was so loud that Allison and Matt Rule were having a real hard time. Matt was hearing her after the first quarter because there was so much excitement to watch Dylan put on a show like this. He did in the spring. Obviously, Matt Rule waited and waited and waited to announce him as the starter. I think everybody within the program knew that it was going to be his chance, but he wanted him to earn it. And there was really, Jason, not a play where you felt like today he was overwhelmed or didn't have a plan at any time.
First down, tip ball, and nearly intercepted. And the secondary opportunity there for Kobe Bretz.
Would you agree with that?
I would.
I mean, because sometimes freshmen, you get in there, and Scotty was Scotty Walden right there, the head coach, you know, quarterback, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't know where to go with the ball. He's doing alerts, he's doing checks, he's getting everything at the line of scrimmage, and he had a plan of attack on every single one of not just his passes, but I think his uncle, the O-line coach, and that whole staff would be excited about what he did in the run game, check game as well.
Wren on the run. He's got 9. Thrilled after that gain of 9 by Derek Branch. UTEP has this coming up. Colorado State got a face full of Texas today. The Longhorns a great opener, but see what they've got in Conference USA play for the Miners from El Paso, trying to build a program here. They've been 18-27 the last 3 years. Goodness gracious. Nebraska has lived in the backfield. That's Maverick Noonan, the redshirt freshman out of Omaha.
Well, everybody else they play on that schedule until maybe late in the year is not going to be able to do things like this, and especially their second, third, and fourth stringers. Now, it's a little easier when you're unblocked in a situation like that, but how many times have we seen, no matter who it is wearing red, there's no hesitation. They are just on the details.
Okay, of all of the things we've talked about, right? We just detailed Raiola's day and the defense. What one thing is the biggest jump from last year to this year? We talked about Matt Rule in year 2. What one thing that you've seen is the biggest jump year 1 to year 2?
The complete balanced nature of this team. To run it, to throw it, to be dynamic enough to do a bunch of it.
I got to do a promo, pardon me. A game of the year, big noon Saturday, maybe. Early on, Texas, Michigan. We saw how important Texas, Alabama was last year to the picture of college football. Quinn Ewers and the Longhorns against Michigan. Start your Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Big noon kickoff live from Ann Arbor. And this is the last time. It was the 05 Rose Bowl. Chad Henne and Vince Young dueling all day. Dusty Mangum's field goal got Texas to a win over Michigan. And one of the biggest wins for Matt Brown at Texas.
And the only reason that one's not talked about more and more lore is because the one the following year is pretty good against SC. By the way, can we get along? Because people write stories, Benetti, and don't think we get along.
No, we can. I just Matt Rule. We were fine until you said that. Matt Rule's turnarounds. Year one at Baylor, 1-11. An awful situation he took over there. Go to 7-6. Temple 2-10, up to 6-6. How does he do it?
Well, he knows it's the players. It's all about the players. Obviously, the experience in Carolina was not like that, right? I mean, he would admit the two. It's a totally different animal. All the different rules, 32 teams, the draft, small rosters here. You get 85. We've seen a ton of walk-ons today doing amazing work. And just as he did at those other places, you get a chance with 18 to 22-year-olds to truly shape a culture differently than the NFL. And his track record's been pretty good, and today is a complete effort. He will have things he didn't love. He'll have some stuff communication-wise, maybe early.
But they've lost games like this in the past.
Yes.
Nebraska and their fans remember it. Cornhusker fans know that these games have not always gone this way.
Nope.
Fox College Football is sponsored by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Spectacular days for football. They're wearing the Raiola jerseys in preparation for throws like he's made today. Last time Nebraska was ranked was 5 years ago. The last conference title was 20 years before that. And Dylan Raiola hoping to take them there once again. As Jalen Gramstad is out onto the field, he is the fourth quarterback, but he was a great NAIA player. He transferred here for his final years. That's a strong defensive play for the Miners and Josiah Allen. But Gramstad comes here for his final year. Just want to be part of a big program, and he gets some run in game number one.
So cool. And I don't know how many games he'll be able to get on the field this year. To your point, like there have been opponents here, Georgia Southern, Troy, and other teams that have come in here and beat them and certainly tested them. Even last year, you look at the game, 28-14 over La Tech. You didn't have this dominant effort, and you certainly didn't get to the depth of your roster that Matt Rule has gotten to today with second, third, fourth, everybody getting a chance.
Well, you think of the difference from losing a game to building depth. I mean, it almost double counts against you because you don't have depth for later in the year. You take the loss at the same time, and, the 12-team college football playoff, walk before you run, right? Nebraska's got to get to a bowl game first, but you look at that schedule, and with the 12th team on average in the college football playoff rankings having like 2.5 losses over the years, you can argue for teams outside the normal purview to possibly think about being a playoff team. But first, you got to get to a bowl. I mean, this graphic says it all.
If you would have told people in the 80s and the 90s, hey, fast forward a couple decades, and the team that would have the longest bowl drought, when like 85 of 125 go to a bowl, that you would have a longer bowl drought than Kansas or Vanderbilt, people would have looked at you like, no, not that place. Not with those resources,
Well, they never lost 4 games under Tom Oswald. From 73 to 97, they're going to go ahead and punt. It is Bushini, who's been best renowned for his work as holder today. There hasn't been much call for a punt. And Thomas on the return, and it looks like he might have stepped out of bounds. So look, here's a comparison, the golden years of Nebraska, but they're trying to build a new version of that. You saw all the coaches in our trivia question from Aflac.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, this is the one that is just remarkable. Different time, different era, I get all of that. And the way that Nebraska was able to recruit and cast the net nationally a little bit different, but Allison, you got more?
Well, that's why Matt Rule was brought here, right? To get Nebraska back to what it used to be. And we saw him turn things around from year 1 to 2 at Temple and then Baylor. We talked to him about that process. He says you have to start, first of all, by learning it. The guys got to learn it, then they have to live it, and then lastly, they have to defend it. And that's the point where somebody does things the wrong way, it actually offends you, and it becomes player-driven. And he thinks like Nebraska's well on their way to getting to that point in the process.
Yeah, and having faced those behemoths in the 90s, that's what they were. That's what Grant Wistrom was and Mike Rucker was. That's what the Rathmans were in the 80s. I mean, that's what it was. Like, man, this is ours. We have earned this, and this is the way that we go about it. And they defended it like nothing else.
I mean, they're still after the third quarterback, Shea Smith, and Matt Rule is beaming on that sideline.
Because they're playing their tails off, and it doesn't matter who's in there. Camp was hard. He's like, we're going to hit. We hit Tuesday, we hit Wednesday. We put full pads on. This is not going to be a soft program, and that's why some of those names I just referenced right there, they love what's cooking. They love what's going on because it's still going to be built on toughness, even if you've got a 5-star elite quarterback now.
One more play for UTEP. This was a tie ball game at 7 in the first quarter after a strong UTEP drive. Nebraska rattled off 33 straight and pitched a shutout after that. The Cornhuskers, in the debut of Dylan Raiola, take a 40-7 win. As impressive as you'll get against another FBS school in week 1.
Yeah, Scotty Baldwin's been to Tennessee. He's been to Alabama. He's played in some of those environments. I'm going to guess when he talks to the press, what he just faced for 60 minutes is good as anybody he has seen.
Downstairs, Allison.
Coach Rule, you joked with us yesterday you'd like a close game, a 1-point win. I'm sure you'll take a 33-point victory, though. What are you most impressed by with today's performance?
Well, I love the way our guys came out in the second half and showed love and respect for each other, played hard enough to get everyone in the game. You know, pretty much everyone that could get in the game found a way to get in the game. That's the kind of thing to me that builds programs. You know, everyone gets to go tell their mom and dad how they played. Everyone gets to tell all the pretty girls on campus or the guys in their class that they played. So, you know, they could have come out in the second half and laid down. I thought we came out with a lot of intensity versus a really, really tough team. I love what Scotty's doing.
What was the key to the balanced attack we saw offensively? What was the key to the balanced attack we saw offensively?
You know, I think Dylan did a great job with some checks. Like, I mean, he had a 3-way check that was on that long run. He went to a pass, to a run, and back to a run, and Emmett had that long run. So I thought he did a great job, and Sat did a great job, you know, getting us in the right looks versus a very, very multiple defense.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you so much for the time.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You're good. Dylan, congratulations. Heck of a game. Your first start. What were the emotions of today like for you?
Yeah, I just started on the bus drive over here. You know, it got heavy on me. Just so thankful and grateful for everything that, you know, my parents have sacrificed and, you know, everybody that's been a part of this journey. So I'm just very fortunate.
You certainly looked comfortable from the get-go, but was there a point in the game where you felt like you really were able to settle in and get into a groove?
I think about the third drive. First and second was really a lot of adrenaline and like our script. But, you know, other than that, we settled in and, you know, my running game took over and did a great job with that.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Congratulations.
Thank you. Go Big Red.
Sounds like a coach.
Yes.
Dropped the Go Big Red on the way out. I mean, the legacy.
Pretty cool.
Dad to son, and he said it got heavy on the bus.
I like that. That's transparency. Yeah. Heavy with, hey, this is an opportunity. There's huge expectations, but then go out and show what you can do, and boy, did he ever.
Yes, he did. Grand total of 238 yards, couple of touchdowns. Nebraska's feeling good right now. For our entire crew, our producer, Bo Garrett, our director, Darren Foster, for Allison Williams, Brock Ewart, I'm Jason Benetti. Nebraska, a big win, and we'll be back with more post-game coverage from Los Angeles right after these messages.
Impressive debut for true freshman Dylan Raiola, 19 to 27, 238 yards, and one of his 2 TDs coming right here to Isaiah Mayo as Nebraska scores his